This is Newcap News with Nerman Esau.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A scary scene on Highway 16 in Lloydminster today. 2 people were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after a 3-vehicle crash earlier this afternoon. RCMP say a truck turning onto 70th Avenue was hit by a vehicle traveling east on 44th Street. The pickup then flipped and hit another vehicle which was waiting at the lights facing north. Now, members from the fire department carefully pulled the driver from the rolled truck. The 3 drivers were lone occupants in each vehicle. RCMP say the investigation is ongoing and charges have not been determined at this time. A 62-year-old man has died on the way to hospital after a semi-truck rolled over on a logging grid road north of Meadow Lake this morning. Police say the name of the victim is not being released at this time. It's not known yet what led to the collision. Well, RCMP have released a photo of a man wanted in connection to a fuel theft and possible residential break-ins in the Marwayne area last month. Now, taken by hidden camera on October 16th, police say this picture shows the suspect with his face partially covered. A black truck was reported in the same area at the same time. RCMP described the man as 25 to 35 years old with an average build, driving a black GMC 4x4 truck with a slip tank in the back and an unknown Alberta license plate. He was also accompanied by a female passenger. If you have any information on the identity of the suspect, you're asked to call Kitscoty RCMP at 780-846-2870 or Crime Stoppers. Lloydminster MLA Colleen Young has been officially sworn into office today. Now, our Patty Yasek had a chance to speak to Young about her landslide victory before taking on her new role.
It was quick, and it was a fast nomination and then quickly thrown into the actual by-election. But I had a great team of people behind me helping me to get things organized and getting things moving as fast as possible.
And what were some of the challenges associated with such a short election?
Well, I think getting out to meet as many people as you would love to be able to do. It is a very large constituency. You know, it's running all the way from north of Pierceland all the way to just 4 miles south of Lloydminster here and about 35 kilometers, I should say, east of Lloydminster. So it is a large constituency to try to cover, quite spread out. So part of the challenge is getting to meet as many people as you'd like to.
And when you're out there going door to door talking to people, was there any issue that they talked about that kind of surprised you?
None that surprised me. You know, most of the issues are of what we all know in our communities and have been hearing, you know, around the healthcare issues. An overpass for the trains, as people would like to see, Highway 21, which has, you know, been one of the other big major issues.
And when you finally get sworn in here and get yourself kind of situated in Regina, what are some of the first acts you kind of hope to do?
Well, I think, you know, there's a process, you know, that takes place with the swearing in, but then also I think some of the main things that I will be more focusing on is the learning part of it, is the protocols and procedures that happen, you know, when you are sitting in the legislature, and getting to know the people that I'm working with and that I, you know, will see on a regular basis every day. I think that's more important right now at the very start. Then from there, I'm hoping to, you know, start putting forth some of the concerns that were raised, as I said, by the constituents of Lloydminster, and making sure that I'm a strong advocate for them.
And finally, what do you see for the future of Lloydminster, specifically when it comes to Saskatchewan?
Well, we are a strong growth area for the province, both economic and population-wise. I think we all see that here in this community and around this area as well, with young families and people moving here. And I think, you know, we need to get on the map more in Regina and have them recognize, you know, what our contribution is to the province.
And Newcap News spoke to Lloydminster residents to find out what their reaction was to Young being elected as the new MLA.
Compliments to Brad Wall for acting upon this vacancy so quickly. I feel it's very important that we have full representation from all areas of Saskatchewan in our legislature.
Colleen's a great speaker and a very nice person, so I'm happy that she won, and I think she'll do great for our region.
She's going to be a great representative for Lloydminster. I couldn't vote because I'm from Alberta, but I would have voted for her if I could have.
Well, flavored tobacco will soon be budded out for good. Now, the ban of flavored tobacco products across Alberta will start on June 1st of next year. As CKSA Nov reports, it's a controversial decision that's been years in the making.
And this was a decision that was made in order to make sure that we got this through quickly and dealt with what we thought were the most important ones.
Honestly, it didn't really feel real because the 3 years was a long time, but this last year where we've been pushing so hard trying to get them to finally proclaim it.
And most locals are in support of the ban.
I quit smoking when they banned it from the workplace, and I didn't want to go home at lunch, so I'm sure glad they did that because I'm glad that I'm done with the habit.
Banning all tobacco would be a really good idea. Cancer rates are horrible.
It's all people's opinion, whether they want to smoke it or not. With the healthcare costs rising and the irrefutable proof of what tobacco leads to as far as long-term health concerns and additional healthcare costs, I'm fully supportive of that ban.
Issued earlier this week, the ban includes all tobacco products except menthols.
Because adults use menthol, but the statistics say that 50% of youth that use flavored tobacco are using the menthol, and under 5% of adults are using the menthol. So it's clearly more the youth that are using this.
Youth advocate Gianna Marin says traveling to the high schools and getting their support over the years through the Flavor Gone campaign was worth it. And she says many schools now have their own movements in place.
So hopefully they'll continue on with the menthol campaign, and then of course I'll aid them wherever they need help. Continue this fight, and this is something that's going to benefit you and the future generations.
The government is also prohibiting smoking in vehicles with children on board. Annika Notveit, Newcap News.
It's time again for Retrospect this week from the archives. Now in this edition, Brian Hardy brings us a story of one of the first smart boards installed in a local school. But first, we go back 15 years to see which toys were popular for Christmas.
This week in 1999, shopping season begins.
It's the last Christmas of the century, and that means it's also the busiest shopping season of the year.
We do about 40% of our sales in 2 months, the month of November and December.
And the busiest place in any store is likely to be the toy department.
This year, the hottest toy is an old favorite with a new angle. Millennium Barbie sold out in less than 24 hours, leaving retailers scrambling to get more in before Christmas. Of course, there is still Pokemon, another favorite.
Pokemon is a craze that spread across the country. Kids are anxious to get their hands on Pokemon cards and games, and retailers are busy trying to keep them in stock.
Of course, everybody knows about Pokemon and all its gadgets and gimmicks, but very much so people are going back to basic toys, such as board games, the Monopolies, Trivial Pursuit.
Rochelle Chandria, NewsHour.
It's November 2003 and one lucky classroom goes high-tech.
The Bar Colony School has taken the next step in the technological pathway. The Bar Colony School's grade 6 class was among 8 schools across North America to take part in the Connections program. Vice Principal Reg Block explains how the system works.
The purpose of it is whatever you can do on the computer, you can do on the smartboard. We just saw it as a great opportunity to introduce these students to just cutting-edge technology.
Now it's obvious to see that the staff is excited with the technological advancements. But there's only one question left. What do the kids think?
It's like easier to use than the chalkboard.
When you're learning, if you have to look something up on the internet or something, and then you're right there and you can use it.
Brian Haiti, NewsHour.
Join us next time when the Canadarm gets grounded on Retrospect this week from the archives.